ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to What's Up With That, the show that brings you interesting people, places, cultures, and subcultures here in the South Bay, the San Francisco Bay Area, the state of California, and beyond. And tonight, what's up with Couchsurfing? What is Couchsurfing? And what's up with showing up at someone's house who you've never met before, plopping your little whatever on their couch, and then what goes on? I mean, what's up with that? Well, you know what? Andrew has a little story for you. When I first heard about this show, it was from an email from Loretta, the director, and she said we're going to do a show on couchsurfing. I thought, couchsurfing? I thought, that's interesting. I'm a surfer. I mean, I can try it. I just had this vision of dragging the couch out. You know, the couches are getting kind of big unless you buy the ones at IKEA, which are, you know, like really little and scrawny. But, you know, a big couch, a big wave needs a big couch, right? So you're dragging this thing out into the ocean and stepping on this couch. And I thought, you know, that's just not going to work. This show is not going to work. How long can you talk about sinking in the ocean? Well, she said, Andrew, you've got this wrong. This is about couch surfing, you know, searching for a couch. I said, well, you can do that too. No, surfing for a couch to sleep on. I said, well, you can do that too. In somebody's house you don't know. Well, you know, it's all confusing, right? Well, I have 4 couch surfers here who are going to make this issue come to life. Please welcome to What's Up With That. We have Derek Wallace. He is a nomadic ambassador. What's up with that?
Hello.
How you doing? We have Daniel Hoffer. He is the founder of Couchsurfing.com. Right on, brother. We have Kathleen Jarvis. She is the hostess extraordinaire. And we have Eric Forsman, the agent of change.
Yeah, buddy.
Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's get starting. Get starting right now with the first question. What is Couchsurfing?
Couchsurfing is an international hospitality network where you can fill out a profile of yourself, your interests, where you live, what you have to offer to the group, and people can search for your area and your profile will pop up, and then those people can request to stay with you. And you can do the same when you're traveling with other people. And the idea is instead of staying in overpriced and superficial hotels, you can stay with locals.
There's so few of those, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't exist, you know.
And instead of that, you actually get to experience life firsthand with somebody who lives there, who can show you around the town, their favorite haunts and hangouts, and prepare meals with them. You get to dictate your level of involvement. Yeah. So you have that on one end, the cultural immersion, and on the other end you have meeting for coffee, and somebody will show you, hey, go check out this museum or something. Right. So you get to choose any level in between.
And you build probably a huge network of friends after a while. It's pretty amazing.
That's the goal.
Yeah, so what is the history of Couchsurfing International, or Couchsurfing.com?
Couchsurfing.com was founded in January 2004 by myself and 3 friends.
Well, you go.
And by 3 friends and myself. And we launched it in order to help bring people together and have amazing experiences while they're traveling. We all used to work together and became friends, and we're all really avid adventure travelers, and we wanted to enable other people to experience the wonderful things that we've experienced while traveling.
So how did the idea like pop in your mind for couch surfing? What did you think about sharing couches? I mean, you don't normally think, well, we're gonna,
right.
You know, you just don't.
Yep. No, it's kind of a little bit of a new idea. So it was actually my partner, Casey. It was his idea, and he was looking to travel to Iceland and didn't have a place to stay, and wanted to have a more authentic experience, spending time with people who actually lived there. Didn't want to spend a whole lot of money, and it occurred to him, instead of staying in a expensive
in the ice hotel.
Yeah, instead of staying in an ice hotel or even a youth hostel, he sent out emails to about 1,500 students at the university in Reykjavik. Asking a whole bunch of total strangers if he could stay with them, and he got back a few dozen responses saying that he could. And
that's an interesting 15,000 people. Can I stay with you?
So that's how it happened, and you know, we had all traveled around the world and really gotten the most pleasure in our traveling experiences by getting to know people who lived there. So so we had all kind of had sort of ad hoc couch surfing experiences, but without kind of the opportunities that a website enables.
Yeah.
To be exposed to more people.
So when you talk about like the web, I still have to get to the nitty gritty of this. Okay, so you have a website. with a profile on it, I guess, or
Yeah.
something like that?
Every member has a profile, and they fill it out and describe themselves and send up as many photos of themselves or themselves with their friends or whatever they want. They post it on their profile, and then once they're a registered member and they filled out their profile, they can contact other members and say, look, I'm traveling in your area. Are you willing to host me? And then people receive those emails and check out the profile, and if seems like a match, if they want to host that person, they can accept. They don't have to accept, but they can accept if they want to.
So how'd you get involved in all of this?
Well, I have to confess that I learned of Couchsurfing through a similar hospitality site that I had first hosted someone on. And I had always hoped that I could have a foreign exchange student for a year or so, and that never worked out with our family's plans. And so it was really exciting to find a way that I could find people for shorter terms and people who were over 18, so if they got into trouble, I could just send the mom the police's phone number or whatever, rather than worrying about
turn them in.
rather than worrying, rather
Welcome
than
to
worrying
my
about
house.
having a person that I had to be more responsible for, and this was shorter term. And it's been tremendous fun to have. I think in the year and a half or so that I've been doing it, I've had about 50 guests, and
Wow.
sometimes 5 at a time, and that was interesting.
How about you? How'd you get involved in this?
You know, I got involved in a really strange way. Me and a travel companion of mine, we were planning a trip to Alaska. We were looking for a third person, and she calls me 2 days before we leave and says, hey, I found a third. He's a guy from Sweden, and I met him on the internet. I said, you're absolutely crazy. I said, you are nuts.
What webpage were you on?
I said, is this massmurderer.com? I said, what's going on? And she said, no, he's a good guy. I've read a lot about him. He stayed with other people. He's hosted other people. And you get to pick him up in 2 hours from the bus terminal. So, surprise, welcome to Couchsurfing. Surprise.
So we're going to look at some photos or some images of Couchsurfing, some of your own personal experiences, and I think this will give our audience a little better idea of what we're talking about. So let's look at those images, and we'll be right back to talk about what we saw and more about Couchsurfing, so stay tuned! All right, now you saw some visuals about what Couchsurfing is all about. Looks like a lot of fun. I'm sure a lot of you are curious, interested, trying to figure out if this is right for you. Well, let's tie in, but some of you are probably a little bit nervous as well, so let me ask you a question. What are some of the guidelines for Couchsurfing?
I always tell people the simplest way to explain it is it's like eBay for people. Only you're not selling them, you're selling an experience, and the experience is their life. And so you get to read testimonials people have written. So you dictate the guidelines. If you want to just let somebody come into your life very briefly, you can. If you want them to stay with you for months on end, you can do that also. So they read your profile and they know what your guidelines are, and they change per person. And it's all about the trust, and that's where the testimonials come from. Somebody who gets red flagged, legitimately red flagged, doesn't last very long.
Okay, so
they get
Meaning red flag. I mean,
you know, like if
put a
they
little red star in their profile.
Well, a negative response,
Okay.
negative testimonial. You can, there's a sliding scale that you can rate from extremely positive to extremely negative, and they I guess just negative, and the you have to like verify with the admins that it really was a legitimate issue, that it wasn't just a language barrier issue or some kind of cultural difference that wasn't understood. But those things are so few and far between. The people who come trying to, get something out of the system for nothing really don't make it very far.
Well, what happens when something goes wrong?
First of all, the number of, it's a very small percentage of the hundreds of thousands of experiences that members have had that ever go wrong in any meaningful way. So we actually track that metric, since that's an important metric to watch. And we can track it because people rate their experiences, and they also rate their trust level with others. So we actually, it's actually very easy to track it.
So Jeffrey Dahmer was taken off pretty fast, right?
There have been no deaths at all ever, and we'll keep it that way.
Somebody's going to get killed by kindness, though. I know it. Somebody's going to get killed by kindness.
Death by kindness and too much good food.
Yeah. So, go ahead.
I think more so, it's not that things go wrong, but there's more at work and in play to make sure that everything goes right.
Okay.
As opposed to, how can we change things when it goes wrong? Let's make it right the first time so that everything stays right and positive. And there's a lot of foolproofs at play and in work that just kind of amount to that via every time you stay or meet someone or even chat with them on the computer, you can leave a reference for them saying, I met them face to face, or I met them in person, and write anything from a sentence to a story about that person and what you think. And from there on, there's a friends list, and there's also, to verify yourself, there's 3 different levels of verification, just to prove that you are who you say you are, and that you are a genuine person, and you belong in this higher community of trust.
You asked a little bit earlier. There are definitely guidelines for behavior, and the fundamental premise is one of respect. And when you are couch surfing, you're a guest in someone's home, or alternately, you're hosting a guest. And in either case, it's very important to be respectful to the other party. And many, the vast majority of any small conflicts that we see are simply due to intercultural misunderstandings, or communication issues, or potentially small, personality issues. So, we encourage people to, as they're traveling, to understand where other people are coming from, and to explore those issues and see them as opportunities for learning and increased understanding.
Yeah, and it looks like you would have to be appealing to a population that's in that mind frame.
Yeah, and it's a self-selecting population to begin with.
Because, you get, I'm sure though, you do have a couple angry issues, people are people, whatever. Anyways, I'm the typical person who wants to join couch surfing. So I do what? How do I go about the process of becoming part of this thing?
Fill out a profile.
Okay, you do that on
the website.
Okay,
you get some pictures of yourself, maybe places that you like or that you visit. A picture of maybe what your couch looks like, so people have an idea of whether they're going to be sleeping on a futon, or if you have a guest bedroom, or if all you can offer is a patch of backyard that they can put a tent up if they're passing through and have a tent.
So it's pretty broad. I mean, it's like...
there are people who let people just take their houses. I couch surfed recently with a couple that was out of town, and for 2 weeks I didn't even see them. I think Kathleen just hosted someone and never even met them.
When you host somebody, when you host somebody who you've never met.
I haven't given that a lot of thought, because I was just, I guess the first visitor that I ever had, when I was a little bit more reticent about this, I was thinking, because I lived near the light rail and the bus, I thought, and he was coming for 3 weeks, and I thought, well, either we'll have a wonderful time, or the second day we'll be saying, here's the bus route to here, here's the bus to there, have a good time, we'll see you at bedtime. And it turned out to be a young man who, well, his mother wrote to me, because she was sort of worried about, who am I sending my 19-year-old son off with? I thought, well, if his mother's worried about him, then I guess, I felt safer about him. And that turned out to be such a fun and positive experience that I cried for a week after the boy left, and that kind of gave me a very good feeling that this would work. And other people expressed that same concern. Aren't you fearful? At the time, I had a very large husband and a very large dog, and so there was some safety built in right there.
You had your G-man there, huh?
I guess probably out of about 50 people, there have been 3 that were not my favorite people that I didn't really enjoy. But I haven't had anybody that made me feel unsafe or you know, that I would need to fear about the things in my home. I think if you only meet 3 people out of 50 that are not your favorites, that's pretty good. You know? So,
wouldn't that be great in life in general?
yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to look at some more pictures of couchsurfing experiences by you and the wonderful experiences that you've talked about, and we'll, you know, you're going to see how much fun it is. I'm sure you're all going to want to join. We'll talk about that in a little while, but check out these images, and we'll be right back. That looks like a lot of fun, right? Well, I'm sure it is. They've been telling you about it. It seems like it's a great thing to do. But I have a question to ask you. What happens if you're hosting, let's say you're hosting, and someone shows up and you're expecting 2 people and there's 5 people?
I've been hosting for a little over a year and a half, and I hosted over 40 people in 4 months.
Wow.
Sometimes I'd have 1 person at a time, sometimes 2. I had 5 Belgians at one time, and you know how many people are coming before you go. They send you a couch surfing request, and then you look and see how long they're going to be in town, you know, if they need to be picked up from the airport or not. Some people are renting cars, so you don't have to worry about it. Or you could just tell them, hey, here's the bus or the shuttle that comes by. And so you very rarely, I've never heard of anyone getting just surprised with 10 people showing up at once or anything like that. That's just my experience, though.
So, but let's say you're having 5 that you know about. Do you know the sizes of these people, and you're going to accommodate them? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I'm 6'3", so most people can fit on my couch. And when I go traveling, I do a search filter to look for people who are tall so that I can have a good couch. Most people kind of do the same thing. If they have if they have back problems, they'll probably look for someone who's offering a bed, or you know, in the search feature you can look for what you need for accommodations. And
so it's pretty much set then. By the time someone shows up, you know what to expect. You just really don't know a lot about.
And most of the surprises come from personality, not from situation.
So let's talk about personalities, because we all have personalities, and this is always my favorite part of the show, when we start really talking about the real issues that count. What happens when you have 2 guests that show up that you just can't stand?
Kathleen?
Well, I think that it sort of almost naturally sorts itself out. If you realize that someone is a safe person, but that you're just not going to enjoy each other's company that much, you can go on to work and say, here's some attraction that you might like to see, here's how to get there. Or some people come expecting to socialize with you more, some kind of really appreciate having a place to stay, but have their own agenda of what they want to see. And I think it kind of works out for the most part that you would just you know, not plan to do that many things together with the person.
Let's talk about some of your greatest experiences that you've had? Start with you. What's one of your greatest?
Wow, some of the greatest experiences. Now, the greatest experience of all is just being able to meet people no matter where I go. I have friends all over the world, and now I have friends all over the world in the hundreds of thousands of numbers that I haven't met yet, but that are like me. For instance, we went, 6 of us met up in Portland at a group meeting. We had no idea who we were. We went to the beach. Then this little girl behind the counter is like, so what are you guys on holiday? So I said no, and we didn't really know how to describe it. And I said, we don't really know each other, but we love each other. We love the same things, and we're all open-minded people who just want to grow off of each other. And I mean, there's always good experiences. That's why you keep, I mean, occasionally you get surprised by someone's personality, and it may, you know, but Couchsurfing is good experiences because the people who do get involved are the people who love it, and the more people that are involved are the more of the better quality people that are just like you and different from you in ways that you want to learn about. Not different from you in ways that come off as surprising in a bad way, but surprising in a good way. So all the surprises are good surprises.
That's good. How about you? What's a memorable experience you had?
Well, I don't know how high it would rank on the great scale, but one really fun surprise was when we took a young man who had just arrived down to the Digital Arts Festival in San Jose, and afterwards we stopped by the Fairmont, my favorite spot for the clean bathrooms there when I'm downtown. He invited us to a drink, and we were sitting there enjoying that, and then turned our backs for a few minutes, and he had traded places with the professional piano players and was giving a concert there.
Awesome.
That's our boy! people thought, oh, that's their son, isn't that wonderful?
Yo, that's my son, yeah. Isn't he good?
He's really good.
Cost a lot to send him to Juilliard, but you know, it's all worth it.
Oh, that was a pretty neat experience.
All pays off in the end.
And then having the boy that went with me when I had to put my dog to sleep was a comfort to me and an unusual experience for him, I guess.
So I'll talk about a traveling experience that I had. I was traveling over Christmas vacation and over New Year's Eve with my now ex-girlfriend, and which was that was not related to Couchsurfing. The ex part. Anyway, but anyway, so we were traveling in Sicily, and we didn't know what to do over New Year's Eve, and you know, it's New Year's Eve, you want to do something, something exciting. Anyway, our host took us on first of all took us to a traditional Sicilian family dinner in the countryside with his family. We ate all these kinds of things we had never seen before, had no idea what they were, and then we went on a cruise off the coast of Sicily and stayed up partying all night, dancing all night on this cruise. Neither of us spoke Italian. We would never have been able to find out about the cruise or get a ticket in time or anything. But through Couchsurfing, we were connected with this host who then hooked it all up for us.
That's very cool. How about you?
My favorite experience was actually my first. I had just joined the network, and I started looking at the groups listing. Inside of the Couchsurfing network is a groups section, so you can find people who share interest, whether bicycle enthusiasts or campers or motorheads, whatever. Right. And so you can find city groups. And I had looked up Los Angeles, where I was living at the time, and there was what's called a meetup, where everybody who lives in the area comes together for an event, and people who are traveling through can stop in also. And the person who was going to host the event wasn't able to suddenly because of work. And I just said, you know what, I've got the perfect space. My apartment's got a pool. I've got 2 barbecue grills in the courtyard. I've got 2 bathrooms and plenty of space for people to sleep on, couches, beds. So let's just do it at my place. And so literally all night long, people started streaming into my house. Just, never met them before. And we had people from Belgium, from Denmark, from Sweden. We had people from Japan, Mexico, Los Angeles locals. And then I invited friends over just to show them what the network was like. And we all brought dishes. People had their own authentic cuisine, their favorite dish from their country. And it was just, it was like utopia. Just everybody sharing travel stories and just instant friends, It's like friends you haven't met yet. And that has really influenced my involvement in Couchsurfing. Every city I travel to, I try and put together one of those meetups to try and recapture that magic. And it's been very successful. We've had groups of 100 people show up at meetups in Chicago, Los Angeles. We have one going on here in San Francisco very soon as well. And ideally, anybody anywhere who belongs to the network can put together a meetup and meet locals, and or come to one. They can search the groups and find out just, you know, come out and talk to locals and see travel stories, see, you know, get wisdom and experience from people who've already used the network for several months or years.
Cool. Well, we only have a little bit of time left. Have any of you ever had a real weird experience?
Wow. All right. Yes, absolutely. I was I was at a disclosed city in a disclosed state in a disclosed country, New Westminster, BC, Canada,
Right.
and was staying with a woman there, and you know, just like as you meet someone at first, you show them who you are and what you do and what you like, and then as you get to know them more and more, you see more and more of their personality, and it turns out that this woman had a hobby on the side. I'm not sure the correct nymphomaniac, I do believe, was her term. So she had some hobbies on the side, which I'm completely I mean, hey, if you got to rock the boat, then take it on the water, but you know, don't bring it near my dock, please. You know, so.
That actually brings up a great point, which is, you know, it sounds like you had a really interesting experience here. Couchsurfing is not a dating site.
Absolutely not. She did not direct this sexual energy towards me in any way, but it was a part of her life, and she was very nice. She did not direct it towards me. I never felt threatened, pressured, or anything along those lines.
So you got a good perspective on how someone lives their life.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, the
Absolutely.
thing is, I mean, to wrap it up, you know, everybody has their own life, and everybody can learn from everybody. I think that the overall opinion that I've got about Couchsurfing is that it's kind of a way for people to come together, meet, share interests, do all that kind of stuff, and, you know, and set up a network around the world. So thank you so much for coming on the show. That's all the time we have. To our viewing audience, as ever, if you're walking down the street and you see something interesting and you wonder to yourself, hey, what's up with that? Well, tune into our show, What's Up With That, and maybe you'll find exactly what you're looking for. We'll see you next week on What's Up With That. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.